Hello everyone, our final topic this semester is graphing linear and quadratic equations using intercepts. This topic is very short and it builds upon earlier topics that we covered during the semester, such as substituting when it comes to algebraic expressions and factoring quadratic equations. So first I'll just go over graphing very briefly. This is how we normally set up a graph. We have the y-axis, which is the vertical axis, and the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. So for example, when we have coordinates, we write them like this, x and y. So if I am to plot this coordinate 0, 2, I will locate 0 on the x-axis, which is here, where the 0 is. And then I need to locate 2 on the y-axis, which we move upward in the positive direction. So when I plot my point, I always need to label my point. So I have 0, 2. So I label it with the appropriate coordinates. I need to plot 1, 3. I find 1 on the x-axis and 3 on the y-axis, which would be here. If I label that, it would be 1, 3. Then 3, 0. So 3 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis will be right here. 3, 0. Lastly, negative 1, negative 3. Negative 1 on the x-axis, negative 3 on the y-axis. Brings me about here. I label it negative 1, comma, negative 3. So that's briefly how we plot points on a graph. So we must remember, or if you completed the workshop, you would remember the last question. I gave you a brief introduction into what we would be doing for this last topic, which is the standard equation, the standard form of a linear equation. And a linear equation is just the equation of a line. Okay, so the standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equal to c, where c is some constant, so it's any number. A and b are also numbers, and x and y are your variables. So for example, let me go to a new page. For example, my instructions would look like this. Find the intercepts and graph. So my first example, 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. So we notice we already have this equation in its standard form. So for finding the intercepts, we set up a small table like this. We have x and y. For finding the x-intercept, we write it in shorthand like that. We will set y equal to 0. So y will be equal to 0. So following this equation here, we will substitute y equal to 0. So we will get 2x plus 3 times 0 equal to 6. This is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So we're left with 2x equal to 6. We remember from solving linear equations, we're multiplying this x by 2. So we need to divide both sides by 2 to just have x on our left hand side of the equation. So we get x is equal to 6 divided by 2, right? 2x divided by 2 is x, and then we have 6 divided by 2 on this side. So we get x is equal to 3. So we fill in our table. When y is equal to 0, x is equal to 3, and that is our x-intercept. That means where the graph crosses the x-axis. To find the y-intercept, write that over here, y-intercept, we need to set x equal to 0. So we substitute in the equation again for x is equal to 0 now. So 2 times 0 is 0. We're left with 3y is equal to 6. Solving this linear equation, dividing both sides by 3. We're left with y is equal to 6 divided by 3 is 2. So now we have 2 points or 2 intercepts. So we need to graph. Remember, we have to follow everything that the instruction says. The instruction says to find the intercepts and graph. So we found the intercepts. If we write those in point form, we would have 3, 0, and 0, 2. So we need to plot these 2 points. Plotting the point isn't the only step in graphing. We also need to connect the points so that we form the line. So I first draw my graph, my axis, my x-axis, my y-axis. I put my 0. Okay? So I have 1, 2, 3. Let's create some points. Okay. So my first point is 3, 0. So I find 3 on the x-axis, 0 for the y. So it's that's our x-intercept, remember? So we label that point 3, 0. And our y-intercept is 0, 2. So 0, positive 2 on our y-axis. And we need to connect the dots to form our line. Draw our line. And our final step in graphing is to label our line, or label whatever image we get. If we're graphing linear equations, we do expect to get a line. So this equation for this line is 2x plus 3y equals 6. Okay?